Hey guys, I am Big and Scary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time featuring Prinzer in our bottom left corner playing our red Protoss, and in the top right we have KillerKoala playing our blue Terran. We're on Cloud Kingdom. I know KillerKoala is in Platinum. I'm assuming Prinzer is too, and that this is a ladder match. It's basically all there is to know about this matchup is that Cloud Kingdom's a fun map. It's got these little doohickeys, the little glowing things, and the honeycomb stuff. Very cool. Very cool. And you've got the destructible debris that opens it up into the common ground. More destructible debris, kind of a serpentine path from one side of the base to the other, but it's really a lot more direct than the minimap reveals because of those destructible debris. Early probe coming out of Prinzer just for that scout, not dropping a pylon on the lower ground. No forge fast expand out of this guy. It looks like he's just playing for the one base play, or maybe just a little bit conservative for his fast expansion. Supply depot from KillerKoala is going to be working on that wall off, and that's the early game right there. Hey, I've really upped the sound to the music lately. I'm trying to get the balance correct. If you guys like this balance, let me know. Yeah, it's difficult for me to judge it on my end. Oops. Okay. Barracks for KillerKoala. Prinzer is going to get in and see that there's no double gas, no early gas out of KillerKoala. So that means no early tech, at least at the 2-minute mark. Again, this probe was so early, it's difficult to see if this is really the build that KillerKoala is going to go on, or if he just hasn't grabbed that gas quite yet. Another barracks come down for KillerKoala. Could be a 2x expand. It could be some early pressure. Usually if you see early pressure, it's sometimes something cool that I've seen out of Terran players against Protoss is to build the barracks down yonder so that you can get a little bit of early movement out of the Marines. You build it down in this kind of shaded area. It's usually not scouted by the probe, though the probe is checking the third just to see if that's taken. Or maybe he's just hiding over there so he can throw it on a proxy pylon. But you build a barracks down here, you can actually get some Marines out on the low ground and then lift it off and position it up into the main base with minimal loss of production time during that. And you gain quite a lot of run time if you're going to be doing early pressure. A refinery being built for KillerKoala, so there's that tech. He's got the orbital on the way, and 2 barracks without any add-ons just yet. Again, that gas hasn't been grabbed yet, so add-ons are kind of difficult, but he's beginning to get the gas now. Faster expand out of Prinzer is just a 1-gate expand. Very rambunctious of him. Very difficult to safely do that with just the 1 gate. But he's got another one coming down, so hopefully he'll have plenty of units out on the field shortly. KillerKoala does have 2 barracks with a 3rd on the way, and those tech lab being added on to the barracks, so some early pressure out of him. He's not making motions like he wants to grab an expansion just yet. Maybe we'll see that money begin to climb shortly, but I don't think so. With the 3 racks, I think this is going to be some pressure out of KillerKoala. Cloud Kingdom is actually on the smaller side of things as far as maps are concerned, as far as rush distance is concerned, so I think this is going to be in KillerKoala's favor, especially because Prinzer only has the single gateway out producing units right now, and he's saving his chrono boost, it looks like, for the Cybernetics core. It looks like for that warp gate addition. But single Marauder out with 4 Marines, that's going to be rather intimidating for the 2 Zealots. We will see. The 2 Stalkers coming out will definitely help Prinzer. It's really going to come down to early game micro, who can make their units the most cost effective, doing a good job keeping himself from main supply blocked, as well as the engineering bay built. So some early upgrades. Maybe this could be a +1 timing. Surprised not to see any other add-ons or the tech lab working on anything. Stim can be so very powerful. It has finished the Marauder slow, so having Marauder play, those Marauders are incredibly potent, especially in dealing with the Zealots, which is basically all that Prinzer has out right now. Nothing to scout this rush just yet. Actually, they're not within range. No, they are not. So once these units get scouted by the Stalker, which is going to go down pretty much instantly, Prinzer is going to know that his expansion is in trouble. +1 is on the way for KillerKoala, but it doesn't look like this pressure is going to wait for that. I think he's going to push with what he has right now. No SCVs with this push, which is surprising. Usually you see at least 1 or 2 come along so they can throw down some bunkers by the Nexus. It's very effective, more effective in this matchup than with Zerg, because the creep refuses your ability to build there, is what I'm trying to say. Alright, +1 and Stim both on the way. No combat shields just yet. Plenty of money left to spend for KillerKoala and Prinzer. Prinzer doesn't have the infrastructure up currently to hold back this aggression. All the zealots have gone down, but he has succeeded in keeping all of his stalkers alive, which is a big win for him. Warp Gate tech has finished. He's going to be able to spend his money very quickly. Doing, again, a good job keeping his stalkers alive, allowing the meat shields, the zealots, to take a lot of the damage. Zealots are so inexpensive when it comes to the amount of hit points they come with, 150. And then the stalkers have 160, but again, they're more costly. That completely zero on his mineral count because he's throwing down 2 pylons and a gateway supply blocked right now, which is a big loss for him. Really wants to just constantly be churning out units, especially if you look at the minimap. You can see the steady flow of units coming from KillerKoala. It's got another 2 barracks being built, a 3rd one adding on the tech lab, and that's about it. It looks like Stim is finishing, +1 has finished. So KillerKoala is doubling down on his aggression. How many barracks is that total? 5? Wow. That is a lot of units, especially Marauders. Those Marauders are going to be very effective. Taking out a lot of the hit points from the Nexus. I don't think it's going to go down with these sentries on the field. Finally, force fielding, which is exactly what you need to do damage to this unit composition, cutting the units in half for KillerKoala, losing quite a large chunk of his units. SCV finally shows up. It's going to start building a bunker, but now Prinzer has the initiative. He's now got enough units to push back. He can probably clear up everything that KillerKoala has out on the field right now. Got to be careful with these sentries. They're so delicate and expensive, and those Marauders are very tough, and with their Stim they can just charge in and focus fire down, but it looks like focusing down the Zealot instead. 3 sentries. Ooh, 6 sentries. Wow, that's a lot of sentries. Prinzer's definitely realizing that this is the unit composition he needs to deal with that pressure from KillerKoala. KillerKoala, he's still got quite a lot of units coming in, floating quite a bit of money too. He could definitely afford to take an expansion, but it looks like he's going to be more content to keep with the aggression. Marauder and a couple of Marines not being rallied, probably created right before the rally could be set. Prinzer, though, it looks like he's using this lull, even though there's no lull in unit production from KillerKoala, to try to saturate his base. He's doubling up on the pro production and has stopped creating any units. But at the same time, KillerKoala constantly churning out the units, constantly making an army, and eventually he's going to outnumber Prinzer once again, 159 over 159, both units. Both players are supply blocked, but the production is still going strong for KillerKoala, building a bunker really far away. I expect KillerKoala is going to move in and take out these destructible rocks before engaging, forcing Prinzer to expel multiple force fields in order to block off his units, getting the +1 armor and combat shields. A little bit delayed on that. Again, he's had so much money and gas for so long. Oh no, Prinzer, whatever you do, don't move out into that common ground, because it's 1 Stim and KillerKoala wins the game, because all of those sentries cannot do the damage necessary to engage this force directly. Prinzer is in trouble. Destructible debris going down. KillerKoala is going to be moving up this ramp shortly. It's going to be up to Prinzer to control the battlefield with the force fields enough to hold back KillerKoala. Robotics facility just now finishing. Good force fields, cutting the forces in half. The Zealots still taking a lot of damage from the Marauders in the back. Oh, multiple force fields in the back, trapping them rather than forcing them away. It looks like all the sentries have gone down because the Marauders were actually trapped inside, which is the last thing you want. Even though the Marauders can't kite away from the Zealots, they're just so strong that they can focus them down, especially if they're slow. Again, multiple units streaming in from KillerKoala, who's kept up this production, hasn't really added any structures, but he's just using the more money that he has to produce the costly Marauders rather than more Marines. Only sentries out right now, no damage per second from them, and yeah, they have some great force fields, but it's not enough to stop the Marauders. These Marauders are going to take down the expansion, take down all the probes, heavy supply lead as far as probes are concerned for Prinzer, but what's that whenever you can't produce units? Finally, belatedly getting 2 more gateways. The 4 gate not enough to keep up with the Marauders. A single Immortal not enough against, what, 6 Marauders? Yeah, it was 6 until one just died now. Sentries go down. It looks like Prinzer is going to tap out shortly, trying to buy enough time to get the Immortal out, but he does not have enough time. Another warping of Zealots. This is just prolonging the inevitable. He's got quite a lot of money, and with these gateways finishing, he'll be able to spend it. But no amount of Zealots is going to be enough to take out all of these Marauders and the hearty stream of units coming from KillerKoala's base. Mortal does pop, gets focused down almost instantly, and the Zealots with the Marauders slow stand no chance against this Marauder ball. Picking off one or two. Oh, a nice force field from a sentry, it looks like, was created before Warp Gate was done, and it got caught by the pylon. Probes getting pulled, which is never a good sign. The supply discrepancy is actually pretty tight, but the Marauder, another Immortal coming out, a good force field. The single sentry focusing down the one Marine that managed to squeeze through. It looks like those Marauders actually can come through. The Immortal will clean up the rest of the pressure from KillerKoala just for now, but with no more sentries on the field and the reinforcements beginning to, I guess, congeal in the lower ground, Prinzer's going to know that he's living on borrowed time right now. His economy is in shambles because he pulled all of those probes, and he does not have the unit composition enough to deal with this, especially on the low ground. Prinzer deciding to move out, loses his sentry almost instantly, and there goes the Immortal to all of the Marauders. Zealots are going to get kited once they get cleaned up. KillerKoala is going to be able to 1A into the main base. No money left for Prinzer to spend. He's got a very small army and one force field for the ramp. Once that force field goes down, though, KillerKoala is going to be able to cut these units in half. Nice force field cutting the force for KillerKoala in half, but even half of the army that he was fielding is more than enough for the army that Prinzer has. So this is it. This is it. Poor Prinzer. He's got to be feeling bad about himself. I feel like if he had decided to double up on unit production, maybe scout better to see what KillerKoala was doing, how he hadn't taken a natural at all, how he had doubled down on his unit production, and instead of trying to saturate his mineral line, he could have doubled up on his unit production, getting more gateways. He probably would have won this. I feel that KillerKoala did not do enough damage with that initial harassment. It was doubling down on it, being extra ballsy, extra aggressive. Really won him the game. These sentries are buying time, but not buying enough time. Another force field go down to cut the units in half, but this time there's no Immortal there. The Zealots clean up everything on the bottom side of the force fields, but not the majority of KillerKoala's army. Wow, look at all that gas just hasn't been spent yet. And plenty of money too. KillerKoala needs to get out a couple more structures for creating. He's pretty much mined out in his natural, so he's just going to take his natural. That's funny. That's really funny. Prinzer's got to be feeling it too, right? I mean, he's got plenty of left. I guess that's the power of the mules. Wow, a lot of sentries. I would have thought that this would have been over by now, but it is not. Some Reapers coming out. Oh, KillerKoala getting out some Reapers so he can pop up to the high ground, scout, and take out those pylons. Again, Prinzer moving out, this time getting a far more favorable engagement with lots of Zealots and sentries. Got to be careful with those sentries. One huge stem from KillerKoala, finally catching the majority of Prinzer's force, taking out all the Zealots almost instantly, and then all those delicate sentries fall to the Marauders. Without the energy to force field, these Marauders are going to be able to move right up the front base. Oh, a clutch warp in from Prinzer. Holds it again. I got to hand it to him. He's really holding on a lot longer than I thought he was going to hold on. Finally, GGing for the best. It was great. It was a really good game. Good job, KillerKoala. Good job, Prinzer. Thank you for posting this, KillerKoala. Angry Kittens. Yeah, that's it for me, guys. If you have a comment, you could leave me a comment. If you have a game you want me to cast, you could post it here or on Reddit. One way or another, I will see you guys later. I am Big and Scary.